What is going on, folks? Welcome back to a brand new episode or show of the After Hours. I'm your host, Ryan Rozbiani, and welcome back to the Benzinga Network. Zinger Nation, how are you all doing today? I hope you had a good day. I know it was not an easy day in the markets for a lot of people. There's been a lot of different things happening. We got the retail numbers that came out, the retail spending. It was a miss, so it affected the markets tremendously in a negative way. So we'll discuss a lot of different things throughout this program. We see that Pfizer hit a nice $50 PT that I had set forward over the weekend. I said, hey, I think Pfizer will hit $50 this week, and it hit and exceeded $50. I'm very happy about that. We'll discuss that. We'll discuss Bitcoin. We'll discuss Tesla. We'll discuss any stocks you guys want to discuss in the comment section below. You drop them in. We'll talk about them. But as always, we're going to start off with the indices. I want to take you to kind of on Benzinga to show you kind of what is going on so you can see like, hey, this is like why everything is going down bad. Like you can see that industry trading lower due to uncertainty due to COVID-19. Investors weigh in on today's Home Depot earnings and retail drop. Also, aside from the whole COVID situation, is you have the retail and the economy numbers that came out today, which weren't very good. Not very good. As you can see here, U.S. retail sales month over month for July is 1.1% versus the estimated 0.3%. So not good. Revised from the prior 0.6 to 0.7. Numbers weren't great. For the year over year, it was 15.7%, revised from 17.9% to 18.73%. Not great as well. So SPY didn't do fantastically. I don't have the capabilities to flash your comments on the screen today, so I do apologize for that. But I see you in there, Lee. I see you, Surfs Up. Thank you both so much for coming back and watching with us. But let's take a look at SPY together. So again, SPY, interesting day, not a horrific day. As you can see here, overall, it started off quite horrific. If we go to something like a 5-minute chart, I see you in there, Kim. How's it going, buddy? As you can see, it started off pretty bad, came down to 440. So if you're holding SPY puts, congratulations. Yesterday, it was looking like SPY did not want to quit. It just rode the Bollinger Band right all the way up. And today it said, you know what? Screw everyone. I'm going to just tank. And it just took us down to 440. And that's okay. It began to bounce from 440, made its way back up, and we closed at 444. So if you added calls down here, congratulations. You should have printed some nice tendies and should have done well. I personally believe that this was very good. Very good for how it ended, right? Not throughout the whole time, but it was very good at how it ended. So if we take a look here, we can see that we bounced right off the mean, which is the midline, which is a 20 moving average on the daily chart here. So it bounced clean right off of that. I don't think any of our other EMAs are important. We closed above the 9 EMA, which is great. I'm very happy about that. That's the one that I like to watch with SPY, hence why it's set up like this. The regular moving averages are not that important. The 21 and the 20 are so close to each other. I just use the 20 from the Bollinger Bands now. Make my life a little bit easier. But if we take a look at one more thing that, as you folks probably already know, if you're returning back, you guys know I'm a huge fan of the Fibonacci levels. And I love the Fibonacci levels. So let me just turn off Bollinger Bands for 1 second. Let me go full screen here so we can all see everything clearly. Lock this down. As you can see, we dipped a hairline below this Fibonacci level, but that's okay. We bounced and recovered. It's really important to see it closing above it. What's going on, Mitch? How you doing, brother? Welcome to watching. And yeah, listen to Mitch. Smash that like button. You think we don't come down to bottom line at some time? Bottom of the Bollinger Band, I think we do. I'm not sure when. Today would have been a day where I would have expected some massive weakness from the markets that would have caused us to come closer to the bottom. But the fact that we bounced so clean off of the midline gives me hope that that this will kind of continue to use this 20 MA support. As you can see here on the 3rd of August, we bounced off the midline as well. If we go all the way back, the last time we were at the bottom of the Bollinger Band, or hence broke the 20 moving average, was on June 18th. And this was after CPI data. So it was, as you can see, CPI data, we've discussed it. It's kind of been a lagging effective thing that happens to the markets where it causes drops within our numbers. So it looks like, again, we got CPI data on Wednesday, which I believe Wednesday, what was Wednesday's date? Wednesday was the 11th. So if we go to the 11th was fine. Nothing bad happened. Then 1, 2, 3, 4 trading days later, we had the drop. And that's what it's kind of been. CPI has been like, if it's bad, it will hit you 2 to 3 days or even the day of. But if it's good, market continue to go up. But this time we got a flat one. We got flat year over year, but good month over month. So it was very, very good in my opinion. And I do think CPI gets better moving forward. Again, just putting that out there. Psycho Fitness, my prediction for PFE hit. I had a $50 price target for it, and we hit it today. I want to take a look at QQQ as well. Again, just to kind of round out SPY, I imagine we have more flat days here and consolidate, and we go for that 450 going into September, barring any negative catalyst. As you can see, the Afghanistan stuff happened yesterday and was affecting the market severely. But again, that was only at open, and as word was coming out that, hey, we're not going back, there's not war situation, we're not going back to the war again, the market's heavily recovered. But after a massive run up like that to 447 and hitting another 52-week high, looks like today we bounced down. Also, one thing to keep in mind is the China markets are not doing great. You can see that. You can see reports about that coming out every time our markets close, their markets tend to open, and that's just because how time works. And their markets aren't doing very well, and we can see that reflected in stocks like NEO. NEO specifically, XPEV did very well today, actually, but NEO has been taking the brunt of the force here. XPEV did very well today. It looked like it began to recover. It's giving up some gains in the after hours, but it looks like it came to the bottom of the Bollinger Band. It kind of began to bounce back up as well, but we'll have to see again. XPEV does operate very differently. Their books are quite different from NEO's a bit, from my understanding of them. So that's that. QQQ, looking at our NASDAQ parallel ETF, industry trust, whatever the heck you want to call it, came down to the bottom of the Bollinger Band and bounced. So, by the way, at the closer these Bollinger Bands are, the less volatility it is, the less chaos it is. Looks like the Bollinger Bands on QQQ are much more closer. Again, it looks like we peaked here on the 5th of August, but it looks like it's kind of cooled down and come down. Could this continue to go lower? Sure. Tech has not been fantastic, as we can see here, starting with our first stock we talked about, which is Tesla. But I do want to reiterate IWM for our penny stock people. I've been telling you all, I've been kind of saying, hey, penny stocks are not the way right now. Penny stocks are struggling. Penny stocks are going to hurt. Look at IWM before you do anything. And as you can see here, our support line, which had held for months, had held from essentially, if we go back to last year, beginning of this year, give it one day of flack, has been broken and now is acting as resistance. Not a good time for penny stocks. You could do quick swings and day trades with them. If you could find the Bitcoin related stocks, find the sectors that are hot, play those penny stocks. But overall, penny stocks are not as fun as they used to be. You can still find good ones, but sometimes they can get very, very, very dangerous. Like one that I alerted in the Patreon for our Patreon members was not job, was jobs, was job, not jobs. I get them both mixed up. Yesterday had a fantastic day, as you can see here, ran 14%, but today quickly gave up some of those gains. So you have to be playing these as either swings where you kind of add them at optimal entry points, which we alerted down here. And as you can see, like a day like this could stop you out, which makes sense, or you could use it to enter because it was a parallel entry to where we were signaling, and then it ran up 13-14%. If you'd like to sign up for that, the link is in the description, ryanstocks.com. I can't put the banner here because I don't have banner access today, but I can show you what that site looks like. You go to ryanstocks.com, you hit the second tile, you join via Patreon, you connect your Discord, you get added to our private Discord, and you can kind of trade with us. And we're doing a lot of cool stuff. There's a free trading course that I'm adding on to and doing a lot of great stuff with as well to help you learn how to trade better. And there's a ton of fantastic teachers in there. We're growing the team there so you can kind of learn best as possible from there. So we looked at that. Let's go to Tesla first. I know Bitcoin will be something we will be discussing throughout the show as well. It's very important. It's affecting a lot of the stocks that we're talking about. I see, Victor, I see your comment on Nvidia. That's actually one I want to talk about today as well. Pfizer as well. Victor's coming in with the hot stocks that I like. Shout out to Victor. Everyone wants to talk about Pfizer. We're going to talk about it, I promise you. Tesla is being hurt massively this week because of the investigation that was opened up into them by the U.S. For their self-driving. We can see it here. A lot of articles. Let's go to a day ago. The self-driving injury was about 756,000, I believe, was the number of cars that they're investigating. Where the heck is this article? There's so much crap that gets put out about, like, Tesla is one of those buzzword tickers. So a lot of articles will link to them that maybe not even related to Tesla. And it kind of hurts them a lot. It not hurts them, but it hurts you looking for good news. So that's why you need something like Benzinga, which I like to use for my news. That's just my personal news tool. I have access to it. And if you'd like to sign up, a link to that is also in my description. So if you go to Ryan Stocks, you can sign up for a trial here. So you see the promo code that they're giving you in the banners for 20% off. My promo code Ryan R will give you 30% off. So if you'd like to take advantage of that, Ryan R, 30% off. So Tesla. Also, we know that Michael Burry and Kathy Wood are going at it again. I do not care. Michael Burry got right once. Congratulations. I think he's very smart. I don't really care for these feuds. I think it's mainly emotionally driven style people who are going at each other. I have no time or patience for crap like that. We're adults in the stock market. We shouldn't be fueled on emotion of, oh, so-and-so won, so I'm going to take them out. That's not how I operate. Kathy Wood, this is Sunday. Where is the headline? Tesla dips 2.3% pre-market. Where is it? This is where I came for it, and I copied pasted to my Twitter on. Okay, hold on. Tesla investigation. Here we go. Tesla's under investigation because the cars keep hitting emergency vehicles. I think the number is 765,000. That should light up some. Okay, guess not. 765,000. There's the number. You guys saw that? U.S. is probing autopilot problems on 765,000 Tesla vehicles. So that's the biggest issue that's happening right now, is that's what's causing a lot of FUD in Tesla. And Tesla affects both the S&P 500 as well as QQQ, because it is a tech stock technically. So we can see the drop that happened here. Could Tesla continue to fall further? Of course. But I do want to keep in mind, let's kind of take this as a lesson to kind of review some support and resistance levels. So I'm going to turn off Bollinger Bands for 1 second. And I'm going to use this low point, which is in May, which is a little farther than I usually do for these kind of things. Actually, you know what? I'm going to set it up for a 3-month time period, which would be 545, to kind of build our numbers here. So again, 546. I'm going to go with the 546 to kind of build out my support and resistance levels here. Is that the higher point? No, this is. Okay. So it's 546. So we're going to look for an optimal entry into Tesla, depending on whether you like it or not. I know a lot of people hate Tesla and they're like, Tesla sucks, Elon sucks. I don't care. We're trading a stock. We want to see if it makes sense. So this level of 660 was clearly broken, but we closed above it. Now, the dangerous thing that happens is if you break 638 and you close below 638 for several days, at least 2 to 3 days, you become in a downward trajectory. Hence, the stock becomes in a downward trend, and the stock has much more room to go lower. And we don't want that. That becomes dangerous. What could happen tomorrow is we can clean balance and we can start fighting for 668 again. It's quite unfortunate that this happened, because if it was not for these two days here, Tesla would have continued to either consolidate and go up, and we would have been fighting for the 750s again, which would have been very nice, because I like Tesla. I own Tesla, so that would have been really nice. But it's not happening, and that's okay. It creates more dip buy opportunities for those of you who want to accumulate shares of Tesla. This is a good opportunity, in my opinion. I've got a few folks that are actually messaging and asking me about Tesla today, a lot about like, hey, Tesla, do we buy Tesla? I'm like, this is what I say to everyone. For these bigger stocks, for your long-term positions, dollar cost average in, that will always be your best bet, no matter what. If you bought like 1 share of Tesla every single week or 1 share of Tesla every single month, as you can see here, your average price would be somewhere in the middle of everything that's going on. So if we look at like a weekly chart as well, this is a red week for Tesla so far. We don't know how it's going to go moving forward. But personally, I'd be looking to, if I was new to the Tesla game, I'd start averaging in around 660, 1 or 2 shares, depending on what your budget is. I'm just going with the average retail trader. We'll go with 1 share, even half a share. I know Robinhood and Webull allow you to sign up for partial shares now or buy partial shares. So I'd start with that, start nibbling there, and take it from there. Okay, that's Tesla in a kind of in a nutshell. I do want to look at its moving average support levels as well. As you can see here, we death crossed here. Nothing really happened. Death cross is usually a lagging indicator, hence like, hey, it's happened already and you can see it now. That's where you'll see it. Golden cross tends to lead a bit more. Like if you golden cross, it could rip up. Now, if tomorrow things go well, you could see Tesla golden cross if we see our next few days turn greener. So that's kind of the bit of a hope that's there. Is I don't think Tesla's done for the year. I think that this will be a blip. People will eventually forget. That's what things happen. The investigation will probably, if you guys know U.S. government stuff, it takes millions of years for anything to get done. So we'll keep that in mind. Exponential moving average, I just use the 9 right now here. I like to use my regular moving averages because exponential really takes into account, it averages and weighs more the recent days than anything. So turning that off, Bollinger Bands, as you can see here, the midline is broken. So there is a chance where you come and break the 638 level and you bounce here, but again, we'll have to watch it. nothing's ever perfect. We'll have to see how market conditions go into tomorrow. If the indices start to recover, we can see Tesla start to recover as well. Again, just another quick look at SPY right there. So let's go into Pfizer, because I know a lot of you like Pfizer. I like Pfizer. I've been swinging options on Pfizer twice now. I closed my second round of Pfizer calls this morning. A little bit early, but again, the difference in price, because you guys know Pfizer is not a stock that runs $1,000 or whatever, or massive few dollars in the day. It's a stock that moves quite slow, like 50 cents, $1, $2. So I closed it. I believe we were at 49 something when I closed, like in the high 49s, close to 50s. I closed my options call on that one. Very, very happy. Thank God for that position. And I took it from there. So I'm going to redraw this again. So I want to turn on some of our again. You're clearly above all your moving averages at this point. This is where exponential moving averages are a great help. The 9 exponential is clearly where you're being taken off here. So I'm going to start drawing it from the 19th. So about a month will be where our scope of our Fibonacci levels will be. About a month. I do expect us to get a pullback tomorrow, because if you look here, every time Pfizer hits a 52-week high, it consolidates. So 52-week high. I believe this was a 52-week high, consolidated a little bit, ripped up, 52-week high, consolidated, ripped up, 52-week high, consolidated, ripped up, consolidated, ripped up. I expect consolidation tomorrow, hence why I took profits. Why a red day, Kevin? Because we had retail numbers were bad, and the China FUD overnight. So a lot of bad stuff happening in the Chinese markets that caused a lot of FUD. Paulina, listen to Paulina. I can't flash the comments on the screen today, unfortunately, but hit the like button. We'd appreciate that. So we'll have to see. As you can see, we're getting a little bit of pullback in the after hours, not much at all. I imagine we come tomorrow around, maybe we test the 49s again, somewhere in the middle of here would be where I imagine we end up closing. If we get a nice little drop to 48, 47, that'd be fantastic. That'll be where I add calls again for October, November. That's where I'm watching right now. But Pfizer, again, with the prospect and kind of equivalent of a confirmation now that there'll be a third shot. I know Biden's given shots to different folks in different countries, like, hey, we're giving these out to other people in other countries who need it. I'm not talking about the politics of vaccines. I could not care less what people think. Whether you're for it or against it, we're talking about the stock here, so please don't make it political. The point of this is that there's talks of a third vaccine, right? That means that Pfizer stock will rip again. Now, will I hold it through FDA confirmation? I think it'll be a sell the news kind of situation. Retail's loving this stock, especially as an options play. Retail loves it, so we can see it move here. I see Lee's talking about Moderna as well, mRNA. We can jump into that as well. So look, we discussed it on the channel a few weeks ago. Not a few weeks ago, like I believe it was last week. This stock was extremely overextended, but we never know how long this overextension could last. It could have literally traded sideways for the next 2 to 3 months, stayed into overbought territory, and then came down. But clearly, market conditions kicked in. The S&P 500 addition is kind of cooling it off, and it's kind of going down. I see Nina Y says, hey, Ryan, everything to the moon, please. I hope so. I wish if I could do that, I'd send everything to the moon. Again, legally, of course, because we're not pumpers here, but I'd love that. But Moderna's selling off is healthy. Look, it consolidated. It came down, cooled off, consolidated, and today had a fantastic day, 7.5% up. That's great. Could it now go back up and test 425 again tomorrow? It could. It's a stock that moves fairly fast. It's a lowish float. It's not a low float, but it's a lowish float. So we'll definitely see how it plays out tomorrow. But it's a healthy stock. It's doing very well. It's holding these levels handsomely. And this is also another one of those candidates parallel to Pfizer for that whole second vaccine situation. So that's why it's having its move. I know earnings came out for this one. I'm assuming earnings were good because you got to look at that massive 17% candle. We can check Benzinga for that real quick. mRNA. I know this was last week, so I'm going to have to scroll a bit with all the articles that come out. Let me just check when earnings were. What date was this? The 5th of August. Moderna. 5th of August. I just want that headline where it's like beat by this much, missed by this much. So that's what I'm kind of looking for right now. Here we go. QS beats EPS of $6.46, beats 604. Wow. Sales beat as well. Moderna sees an advanced purchase deal signed for product of 20 billion doses. There you go. Look at that. That's why you saw such a massive thing. $20 billion worth of purchases of doses for their kind of a whatever that 800M1B is. I imagine that's the vaccine. That's what that is. Moderna drops 2% after beat. Again, consolidation. It's healthy. It's not a big deal. And then it ripped back up, cooled off. Now it's ripping back up again. So it did very well. So Moderna's doing very well. It's moving healthy. I was going to say healthily, which is not a word, but it's moving it's a healthy moving stock right now. And I like what it's doing. Let it do its thing. Not worried about it one bit. I want to talk to you folks about the other stock, Nvidia. I know Nvidia is struggling significantly. I personally took a loss on Nvidia this morning. I cut call options, took a loss, not too massive. I think it was about a 10 or 11% loss on a call option. The name of the game was to play it into earnings run up, which would have made sense. But the thing that's happening right now is, this is what I always say, we always make plans for stocks, but then shit happens. The Chinese situation that's happening, the Chinese markets are affecting chip stocks significantly. That's why Nvidia is taking a hit. That's why Mu took a hit. That's why AMD took a hit. It's hurting these stocks a lot. And it made sense to me that this morning to cut it. I added yesterday. I added on Friday. I added Friday on near open, so it was doing very, very well. And then Monday, we got Sunday night into Monday, we got the whole Chinese markets are not doing well. The nickel 225 is falling. Clearly heard it. I added on these dips that came down this low. Wasn't a massive position by any means. And this morning I decided, hey, it's time to cut it, use the market open volatility, sell it, sold it off. Thankfully I did, because as you can see here today, went down more. Sometimes it's better to cut a position than to hold it. You need to learn how to preserve and protect your capital. That's the reason I'm bringing this up, is I want to show you that, hey, it's always good to protect and preserve your capital. Sometimes you have to cut a position, especially when it broke the 196.38 level. This stock could enter a massive downtrend and come down to the 178s. That's when I'd be looking to add commons, not calls, commons here. Or leap calls, if that's what you like to play. I know some people like to play 2022, 2023 leap calls. Personally, in this market, I'm not a big fan of those leap calls. We can take a look at them if you like. 2022s. I can't believe how close 2022 is. You want to play 2022 calls. Let's say you wanted to play let's say you go for the 220 calls. Those are $985 calls. Right now, I wouldn't add them. I think that Nvidia has more room downward, personally. I do think the markets are due for more shakeups going into the next few weeks, but it is what it is. That's why puts are there. That's why puts are an option for you to play. I want to look at AMD as well. AMD is an interesting one. It became a massive momentum play, ran up, and now is consolidating. So this is interesting. It's not being hurt the way that Nvidia is, but Nvidia is being hurt harder. The other one is Mu, which is the one that not a lot of people talk about. It's Micron Tech. Micron took a tiny paper cut hit here, but again, Micron is one that is very, very interesting. They had a massive drop. They're consolidating. I could see them fighting back up. I think these guys are the first ones that will begin to recover before Nvidia and AMD, just because of the massive hit that they took. All three very interesting chip companies. We can look at TMSC as well. I imagine they're not okay. TSMC, sorry. As you can see here, I just want to double check I got the right ticker. Yeah, okay. As you can see here, not a great day for these guys either. The chip plays are not doing very well. We can see here that these guys have support down here at 107. I'm going to draw the line for when we come back and revisit these guys later into the week. There you go. So as you can see, it's touched it twice already. It's not a head and shoulders pattern by definition, but again, some people interpret this. Some people will go Heikin-Ashi candle, and you can see shoulder one, head one, and then you could form another shoulder, and then it rips down. That could happen, but again, I wouldn't go off of that. I wouldn't play this off of a head and shoulders. It plays more of a support and resistance play, more than anything. Pfizer new high since 1999. Yeah. That's you guys remember we were talking about that in the stream last week. We were talking about that. We went to, I think it was the monthly chart, and we were like 1999. Pfizer hit 50.04 on kind of the end of September into May. 50.04 was the high, and we ripped that. Now, We're at 50.49 is the high. So it's awesome. I'm very happy we were able to mark that and talk about that last stream. So there's a lot that if you come back and rewatch the streams, you can see there's a lot of stuff built in here. By the way, what I'm doing here is called technical analysis if you're a new trader. I do teach this in the trading Discord and Patreon. I have a course that I've built and I'm adding on to it every single 2 weeks. I add a chunk of videos to both the psychology of trading videos as well as the educational videos for learning how to do technical analysis. Both of them are here via the Patreon. You get both playlists. I'm also working on a third playlist for options now. I'm writing those out. That's a little bit more complex. And I want to kind of, what I like to do is simplify these terms and terminologies so you can get them. Also, you get weekly watch lists on stocks, options, and scalp trading plays that we'd like to do. We're starting a new challenge in there as well this week to kind of help people learn to teach better on how to do swing plays, because I know not a lot of retail traders can do day trading because their accounts are under PDT. So we're doing a bit of a challenge there where we're making new Webull accounts, putting $1,000 in there. We're going to do kind of like a lesson teaching style of, hey, we're going to swing stock A from point A to point B because of this technical analysis setup, this catalyst, whatever. So if you'd like to join, you're more than welcome. I believe there's only like 4 or 5 slots left if you want to sign up for this month at least. That's all that's available right now, but you're more than welcome to check it out and join if you like. Kevin says, hit a lot of stop losses today. I'm sorry to hear that, but I'm glad you hit stop losses because sometimes you need to protect your capital. Is Kathy selling? I'm not sure which stock you're referring to. Regeneron. We could look at Regeneron. Regeneron. There you go. Argen. Argen's ripping as well. Look at that. No slowing down for Argen. Just does not give up. This is, again, going back to the phenomenon of you can ride Bollinger Bands up. Remember we discussed this? You can ride Bollinger Bands up. You can rip above Bollinger Bands. It's just going. Now, options on this thing are extremely expensive. And I know a lot of retail traders will be inclined to play lottos on something like this. Very risky because these can go to zero because stocks do go up, but then they break. Also, some of you might be inclined to play puts on this. You might say, hey, you know what? I'll buy August 27th puts. We'll buy 620 puts, $340 a contract. The thing is, you're not sure how long this will take to come down. Like as you can see here, it can consolidate, it can come down, but after a massive day like today, it's a low float stock. It could continue to keep going up. As what happens is a lot of market traders, what they do is they'll look for a stock that's running up, and everyone will just pile into that, and that will continue to move up. So that's what happened with AMD, by the way, and that's what we call momentum plays. As you can see, that's what happened with AMD. Just kept going up, and no signs of breaking down, and then it broke down. So if you'd bought weekly contracts here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, your contract would have expired right here. And then let's say you added it again here, you would have gotten lucky. But if this continued to keep going, we went to 133, 135, you would have gotten burned yet again. And this is the thing. This is the phenomenon of you need to watch for weakness before adding any puts contracts, in my opinion. Is Kathy Wood selling Tesla? I know that she sold Tesla last week a little bit, but nothing too wild. I see Lee's asking about TDD leaps. So you're playing leap contracts on TDD. I know you love Trade Desk. We've discussed this a lot. Let me see. It looks like TDD hit a new high of $90 and then kind of consolidated downward. Let me turn off my EMA. I want moving averages here. So you did golden cross here, by the way. Let me turn off Bollinger Bands for a second. So you did golden cross. It's a little bit harder to see, but I'll try to zoom in. But if you look, you can see it now probably a little bit better. Right here, you golden cross. Now, again, we'll have to see how that plays out. You could instantly reverse your golden cross into a death cross as well. That's the other alternative, but that's awesome. Did very well. If you swung this from here to here, you should be doing very well. Now, let's take a look at some of the leap contracts on TDD. This is not a company that I've done much research on myself, so I can't talk on it, but we could look at the leaps. I don't see anything wrong here. Like if you want to look at calls, leaps, let's say you wanted to do $9 leaps on this one, or if you even wanted to go farther out, you wanted to do $120 leaps on this one. Data's not that bad. But personally with leaps, I like to get closer to in the money. They're more expensive, but once you go in the money, it doesn't hurt you as much when you're playing them. Just my personal preference with the leaps. Oh, you're holding condors. Okay, I see. Yeah. You love playing your condors. I see Alibaba. Lewis is asking about Alibaba. By the way, if you'd like to discuss any stocks, you can put them in the chat now, and we'll jump into them. Alibaba's suffering. I told you guys a little bit earlier too. We're discussing the the Chinese stocks are hurting. Chinese stocks are hurting a lot. There's a lot going on in the Chinese markets. We are in a clear downtrend with Alibaba. It has entered into oversold territories. Where's my MACD? Entered into oversold territories, which is interesting. First time it's done that since May, and then I think the last time was COVID. No, it was December. So interesting. I stay away from these as much as possible. The only Chinese stock that two Chinese stocks that I own are Nvidia and XPEV. Full disclosure. Yeah, it's having a hard time here, and this is probably going to continue to keep going down, or it could bounce tomorrow. Keep an eye on it. With everything going on in China, it's too risky for me. I wouldn't touch this one, both for options or for commons or leaps. I would definitely not touch this for leaps. Way too much chaos right now. Way too much chaos. Sorry, I'm getting a price alert here. Okay, it looks like Ethereum is hurting a little bit right now. So let's talk about it. Let's go to Ethereum. I just got a notification on Ethereum. Thankfully, it's not going to Ethan Allen anymore. But it looks like we have our Fibonacci levels drawn. Now it could be a little bit too far out, but that's okay. The levels have been doing well, but it's coming down to 3,000. That's okay. Look, the thing ripped from literally from 16 or 1,700 all the way to 3,300. Like, let's see what kind of massive. It's a massive run up. Look at that, almost 100% run up, and that's if I can catch it correctly. It's almost 100% run up right there. Like, it needs to cool off. It needs to cool. That's how stocks work, and that's how cryptos work too. They need to cool off. Like, we can look at ADA USD as well. It should be cooling off as well. Yeah, look, massive run up. Now it's cooling off. And this is good for traders. They're like, oh, cool, I'll sell up here, and then buy down here. But personally, what I like to do is a dollar cost average in when there's FUD in the markets. So I don't care for like selling up here, then adding back down here, because sometimes you never come back down here. So that's how I play these swings personally. Not swings, but for me, I personally, I think the only crypto I ever sold was XRP, because I had XRP. I'm in New York. They said, hey, you can't buy any more XRP again until this trial's over. I wasn't sure how long the trial was going to be. Sold it, converted it. I think it's a Bitcoin. Swapped it into Bitcoin and did something like that. Victor saying there's a lot of talk about Bitcoin that is coming back to the 32K area. What are your thoughts? Let's take a look at it. It could, again, just like anything else, anything could always come back down to a certain area. I do see that the MACD on the daily chart is curling down. I see it's consolidating here. Do I think it comes down to 32? That's a massive drop. Would be coming back down to this area here. I don't know. Let's look at the weekly chart. The weekly chart is consolidating as well, but we have our first green on the weekly chart in a long time, and since essentially April. I'm bullish on Bitcoin long term, so these fluctuations day to day don't bother me. They don't matter to me too much. Again, this is a lot of China FUD as well. The market FUD affects it. The China FUD affects it. Velocity of money affects it. You have to keep these things in mind when you're dealing with this. But I do know that there's a lot of positive things coming down the pike for Coinbase. I'm sorry, not Coinbase, for Bitcoin, because the ETFs will eventually come. They'll eventually be approved. There's a lot of money in Congress for those things. From what I've been reading and hearing, there's a lot of money there. So I think that's what's going to do a massive run up. Live Without says BTC to 50K this week. Maybe. You never know, but I'm more inclined to consolidation this week. I'd like it to trade between 44.23 and 47. Trade there, or hell, even come to 4. I'd be fine with that. Trade within this box here and then make your leg up. But I'm in no rush. Would a red market funnel into Bitcoin? Yes, definitely, because you have a decent chunk of retail in Bitcoin. That's the other thing, is that there's a lot of retail traders. There's institutional, but there's also retail. Institutional tends to buy and hold. Retail tends to trade and fear sell, even if they're long-term holding. So that's the thing you want to keep in mind with Bitcoin, is that when there's fear in a market, it affects all the markets. So as you can see, the fear in the China markets and the situation that's happening in the Chinese markets are funneling into our markets and are funneling into the crypto markets, which is a worldwide market. Walmart. Yeah, let's take a look at Walmart. I'm very curious because I know Walmart did earnings today. I believe they did earnings today. I believe Walmart had earnings. Yeah, earnings released before market open today. Let's see how they did. EPS. Okay, that's Q3. Let's see. They beat EPS and they beat sales, and the guidance is good for Q3. Guidance is good. Everything is good for they raised guidance. They beat. Why is the stock down, right? This market. The market affected essentially. It's a flat day on Walmart. It's not down. It's not red. It's a flat day. But it's unfortunate. I do think that Walmart continues to go up. I think once the FUD fades, Walmart takes another swing at the 155 area, 153, then 155, and then makes his way back up. This isn't a company or a stock that I've ever been worried about or will ever be worried about. I don't have a position in it, but I do see this continuing to make its way back up there. We could do a Fibonacci retracement on it. Excuse me, Fibonacci extension. Down, up, down. So you can see here 152. You see how that retracement lined up almost perfectly? And again, I haven't lined these dots up perfectly with this one, but so you can see there's a method to the madness. We can do it again. Move it to a little closer of an interval. Gives me 153.31, which is our high back there. And there isn't really a mapping for me to do it here much closer, but I'd like to do it on the weekly chart. Down, up, down. So yeah, again, Webull doesn't show you the 123, 138 levels, so I could definitely see us going to the 123 levels, which would be around 155, and then 158, 160 area, and then a little bit higher. But I'm bullish on Walmart. I wonder how Target's going to do tomorrow. I know if Walmart beat, that means Target's going to probably beat as well. So if folks added call options today, they should probably do well into the market open tomorrow with Target. But again, Target has been running up, like literally dancing with the top of the Bollinger Band for a long time. So this drop is necessary. If they miss earnings, this will be perfect for puts. I believe they report tomorrow before market open. TGT. Yeah, tomorrow at 8 a.m., right before market open. Is there any indications of any estimates here? Nothing like that. But I'd imagine if Walmart beat, Target will beat it as well. But if they beat and they reduce earnings, this will take a dive. This will probably come down to the 250 area, or I'm sorry, the 235 area, 240, 230 area. I could see that happening if it misses anything. This is primed for a fall because it's been riding so high. It's primed for a fall. So yeah, even if it beats and market conditions are bad, we could still have another like drop of another 2% tomorrow. So this is on watch for me personally for puts. I never do weekly. I don't like playing weeklies. That's not for me. Let's see. Puts. 240s are nice. They're up decent right now. So we'll have to see. 230s are nice as well. But I'd be more inclined to play 500 mil float. I'd be more inclined to play this kind of area, the 245 to 240 area on puts. Let's see. Don't turn that off. That doesn't help me. It helped the 9 EMA support, which is very, very interesting. I'd like a few more EMAs right now. Give me the 21, give me the 200, give me the 50. So let's say the 21 and that one, those two always tend to line up a bit. And then the bottom of the Bollinger Band and the 50 EMA are very close to each other, but I don't expect us to go that low. And then the 200 would be down here, which is even foolish to even look at. So 9 is really your best bet right now with this chart. So you can kind of reduce the chaos. You don't need a million things on a chart to understand what's going on. So definitely keep that in mind. By the way, folks, can we ignite that like button? There's only 33 likes on this video. We're doing so much work. Hit that like button. Help us out. Let's do it. Pauline is 100% right. So many people in here, not enough likes. Hit the like button. Come on. Listen to DK. DK is right as well. Freddie G says Walmart lowered they did? You got to be kidding me. You're making so much money. You're lowering your dividend? Cheapos. Where is it? I'm not seeing it here. Dividend. I'm not seeing anything on that, Freddie. I'd have to look deeper. I'd have to look deeper to find something on that, but that's okay. Clove tomorrow. Both shares gone wild. I own neither. I'm not crazy about Alf or Clove. Both are their targets for pump and dumps by a lot of retail. OCGN, sure. Let's do OCGN. OCGN is kind of like that fourth member of the vaccine crew that hasn't really made it there. So OCGN's got good support around $7. That's the weekly chart. Around $7 is where the good support is down here. So you can no, hold on. Here is $7, $7, 703. Then your next layer of support's around 767, and then you come down to 611. OCGN's very interesting. OCGN's a very, 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 very interesting play here. There's a lot of talks about the World Health Organization approving the vaccine for at least overseas use. FDA has not really discussed much, or I haven't seen much about them on the FDA for usage. Pfizer and Moderna are the darling vaccines right now. So we'll have to see how this plays out. But OCGN is an interesting play. As you can see here, it's one that a lot of people like to swing. It's a prime swing play from the bottom of the Bollinger Band to the top. It requires a lot of patience, so you're better off trading commons rather than options, unless you do in the money options. Like, for example, here I'm inclined to not do anything, or maybe play a straddle, but it doesn't do much for me here if it starts to trade sideways again. It parallels trade sideways. If I see signs of it going up, then I'd add calls. I'm fine doing playing calls on and day trading calls, but that's it. Company X, I own shares, are trading higher for no reason. X is trading higher because of the infrastructure bill. X is steel. Well, it's not trading higher. It's down 2.5%, and then 0.28% in after hours. So I guess it's cooling off from the infrastructure bill. I guess they got the infrastructure bill run up, essentially, had good earnings, I imagine, because it kept going. Infrastructure bill kept it green, and now today it had a bit of a pullback, and it's probably going to trade sideways a bit. I don't know what these lines are, or I put these lines in there as resistance points where it broke above it, and now it's kind of cooled off. You should be in Company X because there is no justification for its shares trading higher. I have no idea what you're talking about. XLF and NVAX. Let's talk about that one. We're doing a lot of vaccine plays today, but I know XLF is one. I know NVAX is vaccine related. XLF is the financial sector. Financial sector, this is the thing. The financial sector really starts to move when you get high inflation numbers. XLF moves. Because there's like, oh, they're going to raise interest rates. That's when it kind of tends to pop up and jump up. So it's cooling off. I mean, tapering doesn't help it either. But that's the thing here. Let's go to NVAX. NVAX is one a lot of people play with Pfizer parallel. They tend to kind of move very similarly, but this one's a lower float and massive market cap. Massive almost $17.5 billion market cap. What do the option chains look like? Calls, not puts. Actually, for November, October, November. There's no November, which is interesting. They haven't written those yet. Quite expensive. But as you can see here, a support on the midline is quite strong. If it rips it, and it comes down to the bottom, then it fights it. But like these kind of moves, it's got a ton of gaps. The gaps tend to fill, but it builds in a lot of gaps that eventually fill itself up. It did good today. I wouldn't be surprised if we opened up green tomorrow as well, indicated by these here. Let me see something like a 1 hour chart. 1 hour chart's sideways. Let me see the 4 hour. 4 hours essentially traded sideways in the 4 hours as well. Nothing too crazy to write home about. What's the weekly look like? Weekly looks like it's cooling off. Might have a red week, but nothing yet. Not enough days to confirm anything, really. 9 EMA, bro. Well, hold on. You closed above the 9 EMA. Double checking. Yep, you closed above the 9 EMA, which is good. So you're technically still holding the 9 EMA support. You closed above it here. Essentially, since the 9th, you've held that. That's NVAX. Let's go to TLT. TLT, the 20-year treasury, huh? You guys are talking bonds to me. It's the first time anyone's ever asked about bonds on the channel. For me, at least. bonds dropped this morning, I believe. The 10-year Treasury dropped. It's the 20-year Treasury. See, producer AB has joined us. What's going on?
What is up, Ryan? How we doing?
Doing good, man. A lot of vaccine stocks today. They wanted to talk a lot about those vaccine stocks.
Yeah, it was weird. Moderna opened down and then it just ripped up like immediately. It opened down about 2% or 3% from yesterday's close, and then went all the way up to $400, up like 10% from the lows. Um, but yeah, we definitely.
Yeah, a lot of stocks did that today. They were like dead in the pre-market, and then they jumped. Moderna jumped like right away. It looks like right to open. It's like boom. Didn't even care. Because there's a lot of talks about this third dose vaccine, so a lot of folks are jumping in. They want to pile in because they saw what the last vaccine approval did to these stocks, so they want to be a part of that journey again. Whether it's through options, leaps, whatever, they're playing it. It's doing very well. It's doing very well. The daily chart is ugly though. I'm not crazy about the daily chart. Massive run up, cooling off and consolidating here. I do imagine we consolidate in this area before we get some news, or we kind of creep back down. But I think we consolidate here for a bit.
Yep, and shout out Nicole in the chat saying hit the like button. We got 180 people watching. We need to find more likes. Right now, we do not have enough to take more tickers out of the chat. So if you want to get some tickers out of the chat, we need to all go smash the like, and we'll get to some more stocks from the chat. But yeah, anything looking like a good setup for you, Ryan?
Right now, the big one that I'm really looking at is Apple. That's one I'm looking to trade options on. I stole a few contracts today, very lightly, but Apple's the one that I'm kind of watching right now. It's setting up for another move, but with this 20 MA support. But really, these markets are quite choppy, which kind of has me holding back from playing a lot of options. At least I kind of sat back a lot today, added a bit near close for kind of swings into tomorrow. But I'm not really rushing into anything right now because these market conditions are quite weird.
Yeah, I'm with you, Ryan. I think I'm gonna just free up some cash, some dry powder, as we say sometimes, and just wait to see if we, see any momentum one way or another in the markets. I think there's not a lot of conviction one way or the other. But yeah, I mean, Apple always a fun stock to play. Definitely on the options. We have Nvidia earnings coming up too. So if you're feeling, risky, you can always get into some Nvidia options into earnings.
I had some calls that I added Friday and then averaged down a bit yesterday, and then like right it open, I cut them this morning because with the Chinese markets are really destroying the chip sector stocks. So I've been personally I'm avoiding that for now because even if they do good, the Chinese markets have such a massive effect on them. It could go either way.
Got it. Yeah, yeah. And Nicole in the chat saying AMC is the only thing holding my portfolio up. We did have a decent day in AMC. I think closed about 4% higher. I think we're going to see a big move here. Either, we rip back up to, let's see, what are those previous highs? 50, 60?
70s. They went to the 70s. They were in the 50s for a bit. They really need to get back to the 50. They need to regain this 43 area, which is really important. They regained 36, which is good. I want them to trade here for a bit and then leg up and then consolidate on the way back up. But again, AMC is a momentum play. You need some momentum, you need some news, you need something to push it up. And that's what kind of gets AMC going parallel to GameStop. It's just a matter of, hey, everyone talking about it, lack of a better word, pushing it, and then it begins to kind of move.
Yeah, I mean,
I haven't looked at GameStop in a while.
Yeah, GameStop's been kind of ugly. It's since we saw that more recent run up in June all the way up to, $300 a share. And since then, it's just been kind of on a steady downtrend.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, GameStop obviously one that's always viable. Like it can always pop. Mm-hmm. So
yeah. I think this, if they ever dropped any news on whatever that NFT platform that they're doing is, it'll just go boom. Whatever that is. But again, you have no idea. Like you could have added that here in hopes of that happening, and now you're kind of like slowly bleeding out and kind of like looking for some hope. So again, these things take time. It'd be more of a day trade play in my opinion with AMC and GameStop than anything. They're too weird to swing in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even remember honestly what it was back in June that drove that stock going all the way back up to $300, but who knows?
I think it was a lot of the AMC hype. AMC hype flowed into GameStop because everyone was like, "Oh, AMC's running. Maybe GameStop will follow." So a lot of hype went into there. But we'll have to see again. AMC is struggling down here a bit. I need it to kind of make its way back up. I'm not in the play, so it doesn't really personally affect me. But I know there's a lot of folks that watch this channel and watch the show who are in AMC. And we talk about it a lot here. So I do see it, and I do see it slowly creeping back up, which is a good sign. MACD looks good. RSI is coming back up. We'll see how it goes. I know earnings, they announced that they want to start accepting Bitcoin eventually towards the end of the year. That could be another catalyst for them. Their next earnings is another catalyst. So we'll see how it all plays out.
Yeah. And Ryan, I don't know if you've already talked on it before I hopped on, but have you covered Tesla today?
Yeah, Tesla. We talked about that in the beginning. That whole investigation on their 765,000 cars is what's causing this massive drop that's happening here for Tesla. It's FUD. FUD affects it. FUD hurts it, and you can see that these ugly candles have happened. If this didn't happen, I could have seen Tesla having a massive week and taking the S&P 500 with it all the way up. I would have seen 760 easily. But
So
Tesla is one that's kind of FUD kills it. FUD destroys Tesla. And we see that happen a lot. It's like every time it starts to make like its next area upwards, trying to make a move, something comes out and takes a massive hit.
so you're not worried about that investigation at all about the crashes and whatnot?
No, because what's the worst thing that's gonna happen? It's like, oh, make your tech better, make your code better. They'll be like, hey, we're working on it. Here's our other iterations. Like, we're gonna make it better. Like, these investigations have happened so many times already. These crashes have happened so many times. The stock takes a hit, then starts to recover. People forget about it. That's the thing. People always forget about these things eventually. They're like, oh, Tesla, let me buy some while it's cheap. And then it makes its way back up and starts going back up. It's kind of like the crash that happened with the two gentlemen that passed away, unfortunately, where the car crashed into the tree, caught on fire. They claimed self-driving did it. I think it turned out it wasn't self-driving. Stock took a massive hit, then recovered. Now it's kind of a parallel situation here. Also knowing the U.S. government with their investigations, things take forever. So it doesn't. I'm not going to be waiting around for that, and I don't think the markets will wait around to be like, oh, what's this investigation going to turn out? Then we'll buy Tesla. I think it's a very different situation.
Yeah, we talked about that a little bit on the Power Hour today. That every time Tesla drops, even if there are there's bad news out there, people will scoop in to buy it up. So I'm not too worried by that news. Let's see. Let's check out the QQQ real quick for Adam in chat.
Sure. QQQ parallel to the NASDAQ, a lot of our tech stocks. It's been kind of essentially trading sideways here as well. Parallel to a lot of different things. QQQ is affected more by tech, and the thing is, tech has been taking a hit because of what's happening with the whole China situation. And tech is one of those things that a lot of people are worried about, because if rates go up, tech is going to be the first thing that takes a huge blow to it. That's kind of because a lot of these companies like the cheapish interest rates that they're getting, almost the equivalent of free cash to kind of the setups that they're getting. So it's kind of trading sideways, and it kind of took a little leg down today, which makes sense with everything that's going on with the consumer reports that came out. But long term, in my opinion, tech is going to be fine. So these are just the day-to-day fluctuations. But if you look at something like a weekly chart, you can see that let me delete this. QQQ is doing just fine, just consolidating a bit. For the past 4 weeks, just been consolidating and could leg up, or it could eventually come down and kind of retest low levels down here in the 350s and then go back up higher, as we saw in the past. We've seen it kind of come down, consolidate, crash, whatever you want to call it, and then makes its way back up. So like we had this ugly rounding top pattern that happened here. It played out, came down, and then it ran back up, did a massive run up here. We had a bit of a kind of consolidation drop here after CPI kind of healed, had a little bit of a red day here, healed sideways. Nothing to be worried about in my personal opinion. I do know that there's a few negative catalysts coming up in the next month, especially with the kind of the unemployment checks being cut off. That reduces the velocity of money. And when velocity of money is reduced, that innately affects the markets. So I do expect a little bit of pain there, but it's nothing to be worried about long term. And with kind of things like QQQ, SPY, if you're an ETF investor long term, you can kind of look at them and you could be like, well, David Portnoy is right. Stocks only go up. But it requires patience, and patience is the biggest thing. And if you're looking to buy these for like an IRA or a 401k or whatever you want to do it, a lot of people are like, should we wait for a crash to add them? My best bet to you is like always dollar cost average in. Buy some every month, buy some every week, whatever your allowance is for those accounts, however it works. Like you can literally buy some if you're in an IRA, bless you. Like
Thank
your
you.
$500 a month that you put in, just use that every single month to kind of dollar cost average in, and you'll see over the long span of time, you'll get like a really good price right down the middle.
Got it. Yeah. I think as we see kind of the market slow down here, QQQ and these big tech companies, the growth stocks are the ones that are going to get hit first. So always got to keep the eyes on the QQQ.
Right on. Right on.
Let's see. So we're running close to time here, Ryan, but anything else you're watching into tomorrow? Anything else we should be looking at?
Personally, I'm just the big one I'm watching is SPY into tomorrow. I do think that SPY begins to recover tomorrow after this big drop that we had today. Holding this level here, I think it held the 90 EMA if I recall correctly. We closed above the 90 EMA. We broke it. We wicked down. We broke it, but we closed above it, which is good. I think SPY begins to recover tomorrow. Hopefully, it begins to recover tomorrow. If not, no big deal. We consolidate and trade sideways for a bit, and then we make our way back up. I do see 450 being hit into the next few weeks for SPY. I'm not worried about that one bit. But again, really just focusing on SPY. Want to see that to start to recover, and then I can comfortably start trading options again. Just the bulk of my trades have recently been just options, and I'm in the Apple options right now. And we'll see how that plays out. And if Target does very well and the stock does good, I'll day trade some options there, and I'll be more than fine with that. But I'm not rushing any plays or anything crazy like that.
Beautiful. All right, man. Well, we will be back on Thursday for another episode of After Hours. Anything else you want to add before we wrap up?
No, just want to say thank you to everyone for watching. If you'd like to find me, all my links are at ryanstocks.com, Twitter, Instagram, Patreon. You can sign up for Benzinga Pro, get 30% off with my promo code RyanR, or you can sign up for a 2-week free trial. All the links are there at ryanstocks.com. Also, my YouTube channel putting out a brand new video in like a few minutes on Mara's Q2 earnings. So if you're interested in that, it affects all of the Bitcoin earnings that are coming out. You'll see a parallel in there. There's a lot of details that I hit in that video. More than welcome to check that out. It's at ryanstocks.com, which looks like this. Let me just show you guys. And you can see all the links have their own respective tiles here. You can click on them. It'll take you to the pages, and you can kind of either sign up or subscribe or whatever you'd like to do. And thank you for watching. Appreciate you guys.
Yep, I got that link in the chat. So go over there, check it out, and please smash the like if you have not already. Peace.
Peace out, guys.
Oh, and also this stream will automatically redirect you to our next show, which is a new show we're doing with 10-minute stock trader Christopher Uhl. So exciting show over there. So stick around, and this show will automatically redirect you over there. Peace and love. See you all on Thursday.